So it's back to school time, sort of. But we continue to get a lot of interest and a lot of questions, justifiably so, about ways to boost the immune system for a lot of the kids going back to school as we navigate this unprecedented terrain. It's kind of funny. We've been talking about this maybe since April, different things, you know, your vitamin C's, your quercetins, your zincs, melatonin, things like this that may prove advantageous for the current pathogen du jour, the virus of the day, and this one seems to be creating quite a ripple, to say the least. But there were ones that were kind of put on the back burner at this time too, ones that we use personally with our own kids, and we have some patients that we consult with as well, and trying to keep their kids healthy as well. And those were the herbs, and they can be just as effective. So as we get back into the swing of things and we get back into school, we don't want to forget about those. The reason they kind of fell back on the back burner for us, for better or for worse, I commented on it to my parents earlier, my wife and I have spoken about it. We have a handful of herbs, kind of our go-to for the boys when the inevitability of the sickness, the stuffiness, whatever the cold manifests in the house. We have our reactionary ones that we bring in, one on a proactive level, but if we suspect something, if something's brewing, if one child has it, we kind of hit them with a dose of these for about 3 to 4 days, and we fared pretty well. But we haven't used them in so long, and that's been one of the things of these kids not being in school since March. You know, they haven't been getting in there and haven't been getting sick, so these herbs have just been sitting there. Catch-22 on that, right? While it's been pleasant to be home and not have a runny nose or green mucus or a barking cough, unsettling for every parent, at the same time, the kids are missing out on that challenge to the immune system that builds the immune system, those early challenges that they fight off and become stronger and more resilient from it. So while it is nice and comfortable and less unsettling at times, it's almost like a rite of passage for them to go through in order to challenge that immune system naturally and build it up naturally. But let's go to it. Let's go to it. Some of the ones that we used before, we've talked about these in the past, but just to double back in review, kind of go down the line of we use personally, may not work for you, and you always want to tread low, go low and slow at first, make sure your kid can tolerate it. These are herbs, they are potent. We want them to work, so they can cause a reaction. And everybody's different, so consult with your trusted healthcare provider before, using one of your kids as a guinea pig. We like to use the company Gaia Kids, G-A-I-A Kids, for a handful of ones we use. Echinacea, a lot of research on all these stuff. I'm not going to go too deep down those rabbit holes, but echinacea. We like to use that kind of on a proactive measure. From time to time, hit them with a little echinacea a couple times a week. Dose dependent, depending on the kid's age, also the weight, however you want to configure that. As a proactive thing, or if we see a little bit of malaise, a little bit of fatigue, we might hit them with a little bit of the echinacea. Head colds, the runny nose, the stuffiness, the red eyes, the itchiness, things like that, the sneezing, we like to use elderberry. Elderberry has been our go-to for that, and it's worked pretty well. Outside of that, if we notice that the mucus is starting to change colors and we're getting a little green or yellow discharge, things like that, indicative of an underlying infection taking hold that needs to be worked through, we'll use the echinacea, but we like to use it in combo with the golden seal. Echinacea, golden seal for a little bit of that extra antimicrobial punch. A lot of the times you might see this as a homeopathic remedy, as Hydrastis canadensis. We might see that sometimes. It's the same thing as golden seal. That's a good 1-2 punch on that one. So we have the echinacea by itself from Gaia Kids, the echinacea golden seal combo from Gaia Kids, and the elderberry also from Gaia Kids as well. Nice, friendly, tasty, more or less, some more than others, but taste is subjective, drops. I believe the elderberry that they have now goes under the name of sniffle support. And there's one other one as far as herbs go that we do like to use, but we use it in a limited capacity. If we notice that barking, that dry cough, some people would say like a whooping cough or a pertussis or something like that coming in there. We've had a scare with one of our kids in the past, and it's always unsettling to hear that. We have a variety of things we go to kind of keep that at bay, calm things down, and move on, let it run its course. One of the things that we do use from that is another herb. The company we like to use for that is Wise Woman Herbals. And this one it's actually licorice root, labeled as Glycyrrhiza glycerite. We like to use that in a limited capacity, especially at night, to kind of soothe that area. make the cough not as dry, almost encourage some lubrication of the airways. So it depends on what you have going on, which herbs you want to use, because each herb has different properties. Sometimes herbs will kind of dry things up if it's a wet cough or have them spit things out. Otherwise, herbs can also lubricate, for lack of a better word, the passageway, which can calm down that cough and that irritation to the airways that comes with something like a dry, whooping cough like that. So those are the ones we like to use. Those are our go-tos. Remember, none of these things are magic in a bottle. We've been very fortunate, and a lot of our patients have too, with the usage of these things, but they all work in conjunction with that overall healthy lifestyle, the healthy eating as much as you can. Some of the other supports that we've profiled on this Instagram page, you can scroll back because, like I said, this was a topic that people were asking about. Kids' immune support, what should we do? The last 4, 5, 6 posts were pictures of different things that we've been using with our kids, different things that may be relevant, may be beneficial for certain viruses, things that have shown promise to work with SARS-CoV-1 or SARS-CoV-2 in the past, things that are supposed to be antiviral and inhibit viral replication, which is obviously one of our main concerns right now, but just the general immune support. So you want to do that nutritionally. Other foundational supplements, you want the kids to keep moving. It's tough right now, especially if the kids are at home. Get them up, get them away from that screen, that staring at that screen, that blue light. Get some outside time. Move them around. Keep them hydrated. Keep them having fun. Keep their stress levels down. They need to remain happily oblivious to this to a certain extent. Keep living their life as kids, carefree. Sleep. Got to get that sleep. Focus on that. We can go down and down the list. Just remember, like we said, this is not magic in a bottle. It's just one piece of the puzzle, one piece of the equation. But you line all those things up, hedge your bet for a healthy, happy kid.